Hi everyone, welcome to Type Talks. Today we have Wendy with us, and she's here to explain to us how it's like to date an ESTJ. And so, would you like to enlighten us on how it's like to date you?
Thank you, Joyce. Well, in thinking about this question, I am, it's probably interesting because as an ESTJ, I was married. Those of you who don't know me, I was married to an INFP for 20 years. And it wasn't that we just like met in high school. I met him when I was put in foster care at 8 years old. And then in the third grade, I told everyone I loved him. I was going to marry him. And I grew up and I married him. But to be honest with you, the relationship was never, we both admitted that the relationship was just, it was never fulfilling and we were together for 26 years. And so what ended up kind of happening as our kids got older, we decided to slowly decided to part ways. And it was interesting in 2020, this is where it kind of began when we talk about me dating. In 2020, I signed up for and participated in Personality Hackers Profiling 101 class. And when they sent all the information to begin learning, it was the first time that I did a super deep dive into cognitive functions. And in the summer of 2020, as I was learning and doing my own other research, I was starting to put together for me in particular, it seemed to make sense in a way to match up with a personality type that were kind of my interlocking puzzle pieces. So I'm TE, so a TI, something like that. Now, that's just one tool in the toolbox, right? But that's where I was in the summer of 2020. So, and my ex-husband. In any event, we ended up getting divorced. And so it was time to go out and date. Now, we were also very unique and we got a lot of criticism, but we decided to wait a full year to get divorced. And so in that year, we both agreed that we could begin the dating process. By this point, you have to understand we were two people that were very well developed. And I find as a life coach, one of the things that I see constantly is people go on the dating market before they're ready. And it's like putting a house on the market before it's ready to be put on the market. You almost never meet anyone who does that. It's the same in the dating market. So for me, I wanted to go and I advised my ex-husband to do the same. I wanted to go into the dating market very intentionally. I didn't want to bumble around. As an ESTJ, I have every minute of my day pretty much blocked off for something. And I didn't have time to date a bunch of men and have a string of first dates. That is not how I operate at all. I also don't operate by bouncing around to people. It's not that you have to date me and lock me right into marriage or anything like that, but I'm always looking for something that's sustainable. I put a lot of, as with TE, I put a lot of value into everything I do. And as terrible as it can be to some people, I put a value on everything. And that extended into dating. So when I went on first dates, I never, first of all, I didn't have a first date where we spent any money. And it's because as a money manager, I'm not interested. Well, for two reasons. I'm not interested in wasting any kind of money or having someone else waste any kind of money on me at all. I don't feel like it's necessary. I feel like the first date is always almost like an interview. When you start texting and dating, it can get very idealized. And until you see a person, so I didn't spend much time texting. It was a matter of, can I meet you? I wanted to sit across from you. I wanted to watch your body language, wanted to watch how you presented yourself. As the ESTJ, I try to always present myself the best way that I can. So I watch to see how you're presenting yourself to me. And in the dating realm, I need to be comfortable. So I'm always willing to try something one time for the most part, but generally I need to be comfortable. So you would never want to take me to a place where I couldn't look up anything. So for example, a restaurant, I would always, if I know the name, I'm not big on surprises at all. If I know the name, I would look up the name of the restaurant, find out generally where it is, find out if I like something on the menu, the dress code, the whole 9 yards. When I sit down for a date, I have an expectation that the person, across from me can carry themselves well. The bottom line is this: I make quick judgments, and I just do. Like I said, it's not an arrogance thing. I just don't have a lot of time. But the flip side of that coin is I'm very honest with you. I never, ever have led anyone on. In fact, there was a whole time where I explained that I was willing to have a conversation with a man, but that I'm not dateable. And when I say I'm not dateable, as an ESTJ, I have certain ideas about what is required of a woman. And I knew that in my life, with launching a business and taking care of myself and taking care of my daughter now as a single mom, I could not make a relationship a priority or a man a priority. So why did I have a conversation with people? Well, I tended to have conversations with men because most of the time, any date I went on became a teaching moment for me and for them. As a life coach, I do a lot with relationships, and I am tremendously interested in the dating of 2022 because a lot of people are disappointed in what they're seeing out in the dating market. I'll also be honest to say, and I know that this is, it could be a criticism of people, but I opted to only pursue men that were SENI men. As an ESTJ, I'm NESI, and I just have a belief in the connection between the perception functions. I know how to deal with the judging functions being the same. I had an INFP for 20 years, so it didn't matter to me if you are an SFP or an STP. Or an NFJ, but I truly wanted to experience the other functions in the dating realm. And so I can honestly say that my dating was that intentional. And I really wasn't tremendously interested in dating a man who was NESI. There's nothing wrong with that. And I fully understand it's not the end all be all, but it was important to me to experience like the other side when I had already experienced an INFP, for example. So what ended up happening was this: I fell in love with an ISTP, and he's an amazing man. And so the only time I really dated was this brief time, almost 2 months, that we had broken up and had parted ways. And, in his defense, I was going through a tremendous transitional period of time. When I was 42 years old was the first time I had ever lived on my own in my lifetime. And I was also digging out of being a stay-at-home mom and a homeschooling mom and like basically a free coach for almost 20 years. And so for me, it was a tremendous time of growth and change. And so and that was just another reason too, that when I got across any man, I was trying to be as forthcoming as possible. I am a person who believes that you're only going to die with your character. That's it. So I am not perfect. And there are times I'm having bad days too, but I always try to treat people with respect if they're treating me with respect. So any man that has contacted me or in the past or contacts me, I'm very honest with them, and I try to be very kind kind to them, because it's very hard to date today. Um in the dating situation, I always tried to be very easygoing, because here's the deal. I'm hard charging most times in my life. No man really wants to sit across from a female in particular that's uh, as aggressive as I can be at times. Sometimes I'm a bull in the china shop. And so when I was in dating situations, I did not, I didn't, I wanted to put that aside and just enjoy the situation that I was in. Um, because I know that I'm obviously there to have fun. Most of the time, I prefer, as an ESTJ, and I don't know if it's all of them, but I prefer dates that tend to be more on the physical side, like going to do activities. I like to hike. I like to run. I like to do go places, do different things. I'm not really a sit and, like, getting me in a movie theater. It just doesn't happen very often. I do not sit for many movies at all. I like to be funny. I talk a lot with my hands, and I do find a lot of humor in life. So I have an expectation that the man that I would date, or the man that would be in a relationship with me, could hang with that. I don't take I take life seriously, but I don't take every single thing in life seriously. I have I have an expectation too that you understand the concept of work hard, play hard. So if you're working you're working really hard, and then if you're playing, we're playing. Like, I am able to separate the two. And when I can't separate the two because I'm busy or too many projects, then I don't lend my time out. But I find that my time is very valuable, and I respect my time, and I respect my boundaries too. So in a dating situation, nobody was crossing any boundaries for me with me. I am not shy. I have no problem telling you you've crossed the line, or it's not acceptable, or don't do XYZ again, because it wouldn't fly with me at all. But I found overall with the dating that I had, I would say, success. I didn't have a bad, I've never had a bad experience in the dating world. And I think it lends to, I think, to be honest with you, being an ESTJ has always been a help in my life. It just has. It's helped me get through a lot of hard times. Now, I will say it seems to be easier to be an ESTJ when you're going through a hard time than an ESTJ when you're dating, especially an ESTJ female. I would almost imagine that an ESTJ male may have a smoother experience than an ESTJ female, because, to be honest, I'm going to be just very vulnerable and honest to say that even when I became a mom, I had to learn some feminine traits. When I was growing up, I played with the boys um, on the field, and I was a tomboy. And by the time I left home at 18, and so I had a lot of, I don't want to say they were masculine traits, but certainly I'm not as feminine as I see feminine women. Put me up against a very feminine ISFJ, and I am. I don't look super feminine, but I. So I've had to learn that, and I will also be very honest that even in my marriage, I had to learn the physical intimacy type of things, because when I say I put up boundaries, I also don't let people close to me as an ESTJ. And I don't know if that's common or just me, but I'm always very guarded. Like I said, I have a problem. My introverted sensing is very well aware of things that are almost fearful to me. My ex-husband used to call me like a German shepherd. So if I get in a situation with dating in any capacity where um I have any fear, again, that idea of not really feeling bad if I have to exit the situation kicks into high gear. Like, extroverted feeling is not anywhere in my ego. So I have to I had to learn how to be kinder and not brash. So I have learned that. And now I'm in my 40s and I don't have any difficulty in being in situations with men, if any of that makes sense. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It does make sense. It seems like you approach the dating market in a very intentional way because you really value where you spend your time. With extroverted thinking, you really want to metricize. You want to make sure that what you're doing has the biggest return on investment. So you want to make sure that if you're going to go dating, you want to maximize, or you want to set the situation up so that you are able to optimize your time.
Well, I can tell you this. I don't go after trivial pursuits in dating at all. I sit down, I spend some time with you, I evaluate. Sometimes maybe I'm wrong, to be honest with you. But I never know if I'm wrong because I don't always give people enough time anyway. Because here's why. Here's the bottom line. I don't like everybody. That's true. I don't like everybody. So, and you know what? Everybody doesn't like everybody. But here's the deal. With my introverted sensing, if you have won me over, you have won me over. I don't have a lot of people on my list that have won me over completely, that I give full loyalty to. So when it comes in dating, again, I'm not interested in just it not being purposeful. I am a very family-oriented person, and I am looking for a long-term relationship, and I'm looking for certain characteristics. And so if I'm going to lend my loyalty and my time and attention that I value very much, then you will have to be someone worthy of it in my eyes. But again, I don't lead you on. So I don't spend all this time in a relationship and then go, oh, you know what? This doesn't work. I can make that call pretty fast. I'm a realist. I believe love is fleeting. I'm not a romantic person, to be honest with you. But that's because when you're in a relationship with me, you're not just getting love. I'm helping out in any way that I can. Any way that I can, and supporting you. And so you're getting 120%. You know, my family and friends don't believe I do anything. I go above and beyond with the things that I truly care about. And so, you know, I don't run, you know, I didn't run 10 miles a week. I learned to run 70 miles a week. And I learned, I was devoted to my family and my ex-husband for 20 years and took care of everything that was needed. He's the one that wanted me to homeschool the kids. I homeschooled the kids for 10 years and I took care of his needs because I believe that I am a helpmate to a man. Like when I'm in a relationship, I'm there to help him and he helps me. So if I'm going to make that commitment, that final commitment to marry you and that final commitment to have a whole life with you. And because I know the effort that I'm going to put in that relationship, then I want to make sure it's the right person. But I don't hop around. I've never used a dating app. I've never had to use a dating app in any way, shape, or form. Lots of people use them. I have not had to do that. And like I said, I really dated with a lot of intentional purpose, with going out and seeking those who were my opposite perception functions, because I just wanted to experience. If I was an introverted sensor, I just wanted to experience an extroverted sensor. And it was great. And now at this point in my life, I am engaged to my ISTP. And at some point we'll get married. And again, he's getting me, giving him 100% of me and making him a priority. And so the whole dating experience was fun. It was fun to meet new people, because as a life coach, I end up basically interviewing a lot of people that I meet. I'll talk to almost anyone. If you're in a relationship with me, you understand that it's not that every place I go, I have to talk to people, but most places that I go, I try to find common ground. One thing I love about what some people do, and I've always tried to do this, is learn about a whole different thing. I learning about other people's experiences. So when I'm when I'm on a date, I'm meeting other people, and we're all interacting with the community, if that makes sense. So I'm really actually simple to date, because I will cut it when it needs to be cut.
Yeah. You can make the hard judgment calls when you need to. You can be direct when you have to be. All right, cool. And so thanks, Wendy, for coming out and discussing your dating approach with us. And thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you all in the next episode.